very good Wednesday evening to you. This is Newsfirst Prime Time News coming to you live on MTV Sports and Shakti TV from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Shaheen Jurangpati.
And I'm Nicola Dizoiza. We start off with the headlines for tonight.
Another 9 kilograms of heroin discovered in Vanathamulla. Accepting of nominations for the Uber provincial election to commence on the 30th. Composition of seats in the Monragala and Badula district changes. The information comes to light that an albino cobra has been stolen from the National Zoo. Parliament of Seychelles turns its attention to allegations that Sri Lankan money is being sent to Swiss banks through the country. Minister Thundaman promises that he will not obstruct doctors from carrying out their duties.
Police arrested 8 suspects along with 9 kilograms of heroin in the Vanathamulla area in Borella today. According to the police, the stock of heroin is worth over 60 million rupees.
An operation was launched by the police last night in Vanathamulla and its surrounding areas. The operation continued till dawn today. A stock of 7 kilograms of heroin was discovered in an abandoned house in the Jail area, hidden inside packets of milk powder. Another 1.5 kilograms of heroin were discovered from a house in the Sedavat area. 500 grams of heroin were discovered from several locations around Vanathamulla. According to the police, 8 suspects, including 2 women, have been arrested in connection to the discovery of the drugs. The 2 female suspects have been identified as the elder sister and a girlfriend of 2 other suspects who have been arrested. A stock of heroin was discovered within the house of the female suspect who was identified as the girlfriend of another arrested suspect. The discovered heroin has been handed over to the Police Anti-Narcotics Bureau. Meanwhile, a stock of heroin weighing 9 kilograms was discovered from the Mahadiwala area on the 14th. Samantha Kumara, alias Vele Sudha, is believed to be the owner of the drugs. According to the police, 1 suspect was arrested and is being questioned under detention orders. The stock of heroin is believed to be worth over 60 million rupees, thereby the total value of the drugs discovered over the past few days amounts to 120 million rupees. According to police statistics, 140 kilograms have been recovered by the police so far this year. Speaking at an event held in Bandarawela last night, JVP leader MP Anru Kumara Dissanayaka commented on a statement made by police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rona on the seizure of narcotics. No person can establish a monopoly on the illegal drug trade in Sri Lanka at present. We have destroyed the network. 12 persons connected to the international narcotics network have been arrested.
He said they will never allow a narcotics monopoly to arise in Sri Lanka. So are the peddlers spreading the narcotics trade? We want to stop the narcotics trade, but the police media spokesperson says that instead of 2 or 3 people controlling the trade, they will allow everyone to sell narcotics. They say they will not allow a monopoly. So is it the people in the villages that are doing this?
A Ukrainian couple convicted of a double homicide was sentenced to death by the Colombo High Court today. The husband and wife duo were found guilty of the murders of Jason Kim and Daisy Manohar, aiding and abetting the murder, and the attempted murder of Victoria Kim in Rajagiri on the 23rd of February 2010.
The Ukrainian couple were found guilty of the 7 charges that were heard in their trial. They were also ordered to pay fines in addition to the death sentence. The trial at bar was held before a 3-member High Court bench comprising of High Court judges Devika Tennakon, K. Sumitra Pala and Rimal Nambuwasam. The victims of these murders were found stabbed to death inside a home on the Valikada Galput Road in Navala on the 23rd of February 2010. The caretaker of the residence and 7-year-old Jason Kim were murdered.
Investigations have been launched by the Kites police into an incident where an 11-year-old girl was molested in the Uri area in Karinagar, Jaffna. The girl who was allegedly molested yesterday has been admitted to the Jaffna Teaching Hospital. A hospital spokesperson said that initial investigations into the incident have been launched. We made inquiries from Navy media spokesperson Commander Kosala Varnakula Surya into allegations that are being levelled that the molestation was committed by a group of Navy personnel. He said that the police has informed him they have received a complaint which states that a group of Navy personnel were involved in the incident.
Meanwhile, services at the Office of the Medical Officer of Health of Kottagala, which had been suspended for an extended period, will recommence tomorrow. Speaking to Newsfirst, Director of Health Services of the Central Province, Dr. Shanti Samarasinghe said the decision to resume services was reached following a guarantee by Minister Arumugam Thondaman that he would not act in a manner that would obstruct doctors from carrying out their duties.
The Director of Health Services in the Central Province, Dr. Shanti Samarasinghe, said Minister Thondaman had made this promise during talks with the Director of Health Services of the Nuwara district. Services at the Kottagala MOH office were suspended following an incident where a doctor had allegedly been threatened by Minister Thondaman. The suspension of services had a debilitating effect on 19 maternal and pediatric clinical services provided by the office of the MOH of Kottagala. Dr. Samarasinghe added that after the doctors were informed of the promise made by Minister Thondaman, they had agreed to resume services at the office of the MOH of Kottagala from tomorrow.
On to one of our headline-making stories. Preliminary investigations have revealed that a valuable albino cobra reported missing at the National Zoo in Dehiwala has been sold to an unidentified person. Director of the Dehiwala Zoo, Anro De Silva, says that investigations into the incident are underway, adding that only a handful of authorized personnel were allowed to enter the enclosure where the snakes were being kept.
Zoo authorities say the albino cobra possibly went missing on either Saturday or Sunday. Authorities also say the reptile has no scientific value. The zoo's director, however, noted that inquiries have been made by various persons wishing to purchase albino cobras. The missing albino cobra was being kept at a secure location at the time of its disappearance.
This is clearly an act of thievery. We got to know about it on Monday morning. At times, superstitious people look for white snakes for rituals. Some people have even asked us if we have albino snakes for sale. We do not sell albino snakes. Only 4 or 5 employees are allowed into that location. Thereby, we believe that this reptile could not have been taken out of the enclosure without the complicity of one or more of these employees.
යම් එක්කෙනෙක්ගේ හරි කීප දෙනෙක්ගේ හරි සහාය නැතුව මේ සතා එළියට ගෙන යන්න බෑ කියන මතය අපි ඉන්නවා.
While an internal investigation is being conducted by zoo authorities, the Dehiwala police too are investigating the disappearance of the albino cobra. The police say that statements have been recorded from 2 persons regarding the disappearance. Zoologists say that there is a high prevalence of albino snakes in Maharagama and Piliyandala in comparison with other parts of the island. On a related note, an incident where 3 snakes were removed from the Dehiwala Zoo was reported around the 5th of June. Investigations into this incident revealed that an officer at the reptiles section of the zoo had removed a cobra, a python and a sand python for use in an exhibition.
The Executive Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka has expressed its extreme concern over the incident where the President of the BASL, Attorney at Law Upul Jayasuriya, was followed for several hours by 2 persons on a motorcycle, which appears to pose a threat to his life and safety.
In a statement issued this evening, the BASL notes that the incident comes just 2 days after the BASL issued a statement condemning a circular issued by the Director Registrar of the National Secretariat for Non-Governmental Organizations under the Ministry of Defence, wherein the EXCO of the BASL warned of growing militarization and authoritarianism in the country. The Executive Committee of the BASL demands that the relevant authorities must expeditiously carry out an independent investigation and bring the perpetrators of this incident, which occurred in broad daylight in the heart of the administrative and commercial capital of the country, to justice. Furthermore, the EXCO of the BASL notes that the incident in question had taken place in an area which is monitored by closed-circuit television or CCTV cameras installed by the Sri Lanka Police Department.
Meanwhile, the Lawyers Collective says that the threat on the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka is a serious indication of the prevailing questionable law and order situation in the country. A communique bearing the signatures of the collective's conveners, attorneys at law Lal Vijayanayaka and J.C. Valyamuna, notes that Attorney at Law Upul Jayasuriya has been a strong leader of the bar who has spoken strongly against the breach of law, abuse of constitutional norms and erosion of democracy in Sri Lanka. The Lawyers Collective says they have witnessed a regular pattern of surveillance on civil society organizations, human rights defenders and individuals critical of the government. The communique reads further that there is also a series of unsolved crimes committed against those individuals where the government has not shown any interest to investigate and prosecute the offenders. While strongly condemning the intimidation of the Bar Association and its president, the Lawyers Collective urges the government to conduct an impartial investigation and ensure the protection of the president of the BASL. Meanwhile, President of the Bar Association, Upul Jayasuriya, expressed these views on the complaint he lodged with the Cinnamon Gardens police.
I'm informed by the police that they have examined from the registry of motor vehicles, the Department of Motor Vehicles, and that they have found that these particular two numbers that I furnished to the police, one the motorcycle and the three-wheeler, the registration numbers of both those vehicles are not available at the registry of motor vehicles. Now this is a very strange situation. If these numbers are issued on a serial basis, if the number before is available, if the number after that is available, ahead of that is available, then obviously the number in between should also be available. So I'm sure the police are always very efficient, unless interfered by the people who are with vested interest. I'm sure the police will take steps to expeditiously get at the people who are behind this.
The Cinnamon Gardens police commenced investigations into the complaint lodged by Upul Jayasuriya yesterday. However, this inquiry has been now handed over to the Colombo Crimes Division. It is being headed by the senior DIG of the Western Province. Investigations are continuing. According to the statement that was made, doubts have been cast on a motorcycle and three-wheeler. If there was such a three-wheeler, we will find out who was travelling in it through evidence and scientific investigations.
As the leader of the Bar Association, Upul Jayasuriya makes clear statements about any issue. When statements have to be made against the government, he makes them. Motorbikes are now chasing him, similar to the manner in which Lasantha was murdered. The government is implementing a plan to send motorcyclists and confine such people to their homes. The entire country should condemn this. If they are attempting to murder the president of the Bar Association, the government is making a big mistake. The government should immediately issue a statement about it.
You're watching News First, and in business news, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Seychelles Jean-Paul Adam has categorized as false allegations that Seychelles has helped Sri Lanka to transfer funds to Swiss banks. The Seychelles news agency reports that Jean-Paul Adam has made this statement in response to questions posed by opposition leader David Pierre in the island's National Assembly.
At a media briefing held last Friday, UNP parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva claimed that a process has been implemented whereby funds from Sri Lanka are deposited in Swiss banks via Seychelles. When the opposition leader of Seychelles, David Pierre, requested clarifications in the country's National Assembly, Foreign Affairs Minister Jean-Paul Adam had responded that Seychelles had embarked on a process to register companies not only from Sri Lanka, and these companies can have assets in banks across the world. He added that while the transfer of money in itself is not a crime, in order to say that there has been a crime, fraud or money laundering, there must be proof that a company is implicated in its illegal activities. Furthermore, Adam noted that since launch in the sector in 1996, Seychelles' international financial services industry now comprises of some 140,000 international business companies, and that the Seychelles has taken steps to impose stricter regulations of the sector to avoid becoming a haven for money laundering and other illicit financial activities. Adam added that if there are any suspicious transactions, the Seychelles has the mechanism in place as well as cooperation with other countries to investigate. He noted that in several cases where money has been transferred illegally, the money has been seized, and in some cases the money has been repatriated. Speaking exclusively to News First, the Mayor of Victoria, Seychelles, Jacqueline Moustache Bell, currently on an official visit to Sri Lanka, commented on investment in her country.
We have what we call the investment, Seychelles Investment Bureau, and all the investment that Seychelles has ongoing is taken care of by these bureaus. The incentives will vary according to the kind of development, as in per the demand and the necessity and the how fast you want it to be done. Whilst we facilitate the process, we also have to keep the standard and the high standard that is required both by the two countries as well as by the international organizations elections when they are involved. But it is very conducive for the Sri Lankans to do business in Seychelles at the moment.
අපි කිව්වේ ඔය සීෂල්ස් රටේ company
This is exactly what we said. We said that there were companies within companies in Seychelles. These companies have been established in such a way that they cannot be found out, and the money has been transferred with no transparency whatsoever under the guise of transferring it to other countries. A branch of the Bank of Ceylon was opened in Seychelles a month ago. When was the application for the license submitted? Who okayed the application and granted the license? The Sri Lankan High Commission has also been established in Seychelles. Mihinya now flies to Seychelles. There is a connection between all of these events. We call on the government to make inquiries into this. The Swiss Central Bank has commenced talks with the Seychelles government to make inquiries regarding the rumours in Sri Lanka.
වෙන කතා බහ පිළිබඳව ඕන්ට දැනගන්න ඕනේ කියලා.
යම්කිසි මුදලක් ලංකාවෙන් එළියට යවනවා නම්
If a certain amount of money is leaving the country, authorization must be obtained from the Exchange Control Department, which is under the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. If money is leaving the country, it is a major challenge to the Sri Lankan economy and the legal sector. What we have seen with international transactions of black money is that while the money is transferred under a certain individual's name, the money actually belongs to someone else. Investigations must be launched together with foreign banks and the places where investments have been made.
තියෙන ස්ථාන සමග පරීක්ෂණ ආරම්භ කරන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැතුව කරන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ.
Moving on to other local news, Elections Commissioner Mahinda Deshapriya says accepting of nominations for the Uva Provincial Council election will commence on the 30th of this month.
Accepting of nominations will conclude at noon on the 6th of August. The Election Secretariat noted that they will be accepting bonds for the upcoming election from the day on which they begin accepting nominations till noon on the 5th of August. The date on which the election will be held will be announced after considering the number of nominations that are submitted. 32 members are due to be elected to the Uva province. An intense debate arose regarding the number of representatives that have been allocated for the Badulla and Monaragal district to the Uva province. According to the release issued by the Election Secretariat this afternoon, 18 representatives will be elected from the Badulla district, while 14 representatives will be elected from the Monaragal district. Earlier, 21 members represented the Badulla district, while 11 members represented the Monaragal district. 3 seats from Badulla district have been reduced and added to the number of seats in the Monaragal district.
And with all the heat of the political stage, up next is the battle for Uva.
The opening shot to change the UNP government back then was fired in the south. I wish to note that this time the turning point, the first shot to change the alliance government after 20 years, will come from the brave people of Uva Velassa, and no one can prevent this.
At every parliamentary election, we have won the Monaragal district. We have won the Monaragal district at every presidential election. We are assured victory at this provincial council election too.
We have seen the vision of both those parties and what they have done for the country with their vision. We have received the results of their vision. If their vision is correct, our country should be as perfect as a fairy world.
On every front, we have begun to take this country forward. We are receiving awards for this work. Every 6 years, the people give us an award for our work. At present, the tenure of politicians is decided by constituents in his district.
By carpeting this road and establishing a Mahindodaya Technology Centre here, President Mahinda Rajapaksa has paved the road from the village to the town, from the town to Colombo, from Colombo to the world, and from the world to the universe. We are at a turning point where we decide to travel on that road.
The train is continuing along the same railway line. It is the same train and the same line. What have we changed? Only the driver. But in truth, what must we change? The path we are on is wrong. We have the power. Day will come when the people will rightly confer their power. When is that day? The elections.
Do these people need to be taught to vote? Our people know the right. There is nothing unusual to teach them. The people know how to vote come a general election.
The 35th anniversary celebrations of the Yoshida Shokanji International Preschool in Sapogaskanda, which comes under the purview of the Yoshida Education and Social Service Foundation, were held today. The event was held under the guidance of the President of the Sri Lanka Mahabodhi Society and Chairman of the Yoshida Education Foundation, Venerable Banagala Upathisatera. The Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Cardinal Dr. Malcolm Ranjith, graced the occasion as the chief guest. Students at the preschool showcased their talents through various performances.
At the outset, I wish to express my gratitude to the Archbishop, His Eminence Cardinal Dr. Malcolm Ranjith, for gracing our small temple, being one of the key figures in the church and in Asia. Religious harmony is essential. Truly, he possesses the qualities of a religious leader. He looks at both the Christian and Buddhist worlds with the same eyes. As a result, there are close ties between the temple and the church at present. This is vital to the future of our country. No matter what religion we follow, we are citizens of Sri Lanka, born in Sri Lanka. No matter what language we speak, we are all part of the same brotherhood. If we truly follow our respective religions, then it is certain that we must unite. We cannot be divided. At a time like the present, when our nation Sri Lanka is facing conspiracies from various quarters, it is ever more important that we as people who are from different religions and communities be united.
Divisional Wildlife Officer Priyantha Senaratne says that the Badula district has been identified as a fire risk zone due to the prevalent dry weather conditions. He notes that the district is already facing a dire drinking water crisis.
Over 30 forest fires were reported in the district of Badula during the last month. Divisional Wildlife Officer Priyantha Senaratne says that many forests, shrubbery areas and lowlands have been destroyed due to fires that have been started by people. However, the Wildlife Officer noted that the possibility of natural forest fires in the Badula district is very low. Forest fires were reported from several locations in the Badula district yesterday, including in Algasina and in close proximity to the Diyatalava army camp. Fires were also reported in the recent past from areas such as Badulla, Haldumulla, Bandaravela, Valimada, Mahiyangana, Vidimaliyadda and Alla. The Divisional Wildlife Officer notes that these man-made fires have caused major risk to the medicinal plants that thrive in the district and have also caused numerous water springs to dry up. Meanwhile, a forest fire caused extensive damage to the Bolgola Mountain Reserve in Dambagalla, Munragala. Munragala Divisional Wildlife Officer Rasal Veerasinghe notes that the fire has destroyed valuable timber and medicinal plants. He also pointed out that 630 hectares of forest land have been destroyed in the Munragala district as a result of 6 fires that were reported last month. Meanwhile, over 10 acres of land was destroyed due to a fire that erupted in the Ma Oya Reserve in Polonnaruwa. A group of individuals who transport sand from Mahiyangani via Kandy engaged in a protest in the Thanekumbura area in Kandy today. The group charges that they have had to face numerous issues as they have been forced to take alternative routes to transport their sand.
Vehicular traffic was affected as a result of the protest held in Thanekumbura. The protesters charged that following the reconstruction of the 18 Bends Road, the Kandy Rajamauta was given to them as an alternative route to transport sand. The distance between Thanekumbura and Kandy is 6 kilometers. However, the police has instructed these drivers to enter Kandy via Gandoruwa since the road between Thanekumbura and Kandy is in a dilapidated state. The protesters charge that they have to travel an additional 30 kilometers to reach Kandy due to this. The 6-kilometer route has now been turned into a 36-kilometer route. We call on authorities to give us an A-grade route at a speed permit of 24 kilometers per hour. It could be through Manampitia, else allow us to transport a limited amount of sand through the 18 Bend route. The protesters disrupted the activities of sand drivers that did not join in their protest. The protesters that engaged in the demonstration by blocking the road were dispersed to the intervention of the police.
In boxing, Buddhika Manaram from the Kalyana Pradeep Science Institute, the winner of the 52 kg weight class in Sri Lanka's first ever sports reality program, Super Fighter, headed back home today. During his journey back home, Buddhika Manaram was warmly welcomed by numerous sports fans.
Super Fighter,
Sri Lanka's first ever sports reality program, Super Fighter, which introduced boxers from the rural areas to the national stage, marked its conclusion on Sunday. Buddhika Manaram from the Kalyana Pradeep Science Institute in Delgoda was adjudged champion in the 52 kg weight class. Students from the Kalyana Pradeep Science Institute had organized a special welcome ceremony at the Siamalape Junction to welcome their school hero. Buddhika Manaram, who observed religious observances, was escorted to his school in a motorcade. Locals in the area too had organized various events to welcome Buddhika Manaram. The event to felicitate Buddhika Manaram for his achievement at Super Fighter took place at the Kalyana Pradeep Science Institute. Entertainment performances added color to the event. Buddhika Manaram also received several gifts during this event.
Super Fighter.
The South African cricket team made history in a quiet way when they took the field for the first test against Sri Lanka in Galle today. For the first time, the country that was for so long shamed by its racist apartheid regime will be led by a full-time non-white captain, Hashim Amla. He takes over from Graham Smith, who stood down in March after holding for the post for more than a decade. Now, despite an early assault by the Proteas, the Sri Lankan bowling attack managed to dampen hopes of the visitors, reaching a big total with breakthroughs during the latter part of the day.
Heads is the call from Hashim.
The Proteas, winning the toss, decided to take first lease of the Galle wicket. Alvaro Peterson and Dean Elgar took the Lankan bowlers early, adding 70 runs to the first wicket. Peterson was trapped in front for 34 runs by Dilruwan Pereira. Faf du Plessis then joined Elgar at the crease.
Nicely nudged, it's gone fine.
Elgar went on to reach his second century in the longer format of the game.
What? The scream!
Before long, Suranga Lakmal got the edge and sent back Elgar for 103 runs, having caught him behind by Dinesh Chandimal. Proteas captain Hashim Amla then came into bat, but his stay at the crease remained short when he was dismissed for 11 runs by Rangana Herath. Faf du Plessis and AB de Villiers, back from injury as only a batsman, continued to dominate the bowlers. The breakthrough came in the 83rd over when du Plessis was sent on his way back to the dressing room for 80 runs, caught by Silva off a Dilruwan Pereira delivery. 20 runs later, Suranga Lakmal bowled out de Villiers for 21 runs. At stumps on day one, the Proteas were on 268 runs for the loss of 5 wickets.
Well, that's a wrap of your primetime news for tonight. Thank you for joining us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Nicola D'Souza.
And I'm Shahan Jarampati. Good night and take care.